about is you said Amazon FBA, right, which some people are doing. I could just talk about broadly about Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Any of this stuff I could talk about and sell an information product. What I've got to try to do is I've got to try to niche this down to the point where my level of expertise really meets where people really want to be, right? And then even within this, right, even within any of these things, the further down I can get this, right, if I can sub-niche this down, I can develop some kind of market, I don't want to call it domination, but I've then become the 800-pound gorilla in the room when I can niche this down to a point where I know people want something, and it's not niched down too far where I have something that nobody wants, right? So what we're trying to do is it's a bit of a balancing act, and the way that we kind of find this out, right, is that we start this process that we call, or that you have probably, done when you did the recordings, which is a product snowball. So we start with a small product, or product, as my daughter says, product. We start with a small product to try to determine where the market is, right? And all the product does is it determines if people are going to buy, because we don't know, right? We don't really know if people are going to buy an information product until they buy it. Now, obviously, the purpose of getting what I call a product snowball is that you're first determining where the market is. Second, you're building up what I call momentum, so the affiliates will want to promote it, right? So what we have to do is we have to determine what our niche is, right? I can be all over the place here, but if I'm going to profit, ultimately, I've got to be here where I'm the only one that knows this as well as anybody else. There is, probably as you were coming along, you've probably been in it as long as I have. When we first started, it was Jeff Walker and product launches, right? Before, he was the only one talking about product launches on the internet. There was also Walker. Walker was talking about it. There was Kern was talking about it. And they became like these gurus when it came to product launches, right? And then of course after that everybody came rushing in, but they'd already made a gazillion, dollars.
I bought Frank and Ed's first program.
Right, yeah. I mean, I bought Frank Kern's too, and Jeff Walker's.
Yeah.
So gone probably are the days when they're going to sell them for $29.97, $19.97. But the point's well taken. That this concept though is the valid one, right? Where you determine and you kind of position yourself in this place where there is nobody. I guess what is that called? The blue ocean strategy, right? Where you're swimming not where the sharks are, where there's red ocean. You're swimming where it's blue ocean where the sharks are not. So then that's sort of 5, determining a market niche. Okay, so the next part really is then probably, hopefully, right? If you have some level of passion is the audience and sort of where that audience is, and so determining what the objective is. So I think in your case, you're looking not only for product buyers, you're looking to close customers. So in the case of some of the consumer folks, you probably be looking to get them to buy products or to listen. So there are a couple of ways to do this audience deal. And I guess when we talk about audience, one of the things we have to try to determine is, as I said, our objective and how we want to monetize. I don't have that on here, but because in some cases the audience is going to be auditory, right? And they're going to listen to things online. In some cases, the audience is going to be people who read stuff, right? And they're gonna be reading blogs, right? And it does kind of go back to trying to determine who it is that are listening to us, right? So getting into those analytics in YouTube to try to figure out, okay, who's really listening to me, and are those the kind of people that listen to podcasts, right? Are those the kind of people that read blogs? And in some cases, I know that the folks that read blogs are typically not the same people who listen to podcasts. So some people are gonna listen, some people are going to read books. Okay, this is kind of getting to be, there's not as many people who read books, but Kindle has kind of bumped this up now. So now people can go and they can pay, $2 for a book and they'll read it, right? And sometimes they'll just get it and hold it, right? So in terms of finding where the audience is, there's some people who are going to be reading Kindle books, and then there's some people who come, like yourself and probably even me, will come to a live event. There's some people who will come to a live online event, right? They prefer webinars. And of course, video, right? Some people prefer to write video. And then there's some people that do some combination of all of them. And there's some studies and there's some pretty good information on where some of these people fall, right? So, I mean, I don't like necessarily to draw hard lines, but I guess what Neil Strauss talked about, generations. And so, you've got the millennials, you've got the Xers, you got the boomers, and you got the silent generation. And they can all be within a niche, and they can all be doing something different, right? Because these guys tend to be the folks that do this and this, right, in big numbers. Boomers still do this, right? They like these things. They're okay with these. That's their preference, right? Xers are sort of all over the place, right? If you look at the numbers, if I were to draw this along the lines in general, right? In general, so women who are Xers tend to read blogs, right? Tend to like them and tend to gravitate toward them. Dudes tend to like video, right? That's just a tendency. So, and that, just in a broad sense. So, one of the things that I think all of us have to do is try to determine who we're talking to, and then what they'll buy, right? Because in trying to determine product creation, the tendency for millennials is they don't want to pay for it. It's just their tendency. They'll buy an information product, but their bias is toward free. Xers will buy, but it has to be practical. Boomers will buy, right? And as long as they see the upside, and again, just in general, and then the silent will buy kind of on general principle. It's just in general. Okay, so you've got these general categories of what people are looking for when you're trying to determine who the audience is. And the reason that's important is because I think all of us need a vehicle to reach our audience. And that's whether or not we're selling, that's whether or not we cold call, that's whether or not we reach people. All of us need a primary. Now, none of us can do all of this. It would be nice if Sydney could write the books and Lana could do one thing, but we sort of all got to try to choose like the primary, right? And if I'm a talker, right, I'm going to do auditory. And this does not mean, of course, as you know, right? You'd never tell anybody not to call on people if that's their business. It just means that in order to reach this audience on the internet, we gotta have these things. So some of us need to have blogs, and I think what gets people bogged down, even in terms of product creation, is we see all these things, we try to do all of them, right? And so to try to do all of these visually is overwhelming, right? Nobody can do everything. We can be good at one thing, right? And sometimes, as I was talking to you about, Lana, today, if you can be good at one